From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big noontime of LALATE with big updates about your fourth stimulus check. In this recording, I give you a big update about the fourth stimulus check of 2021. Meantime, what happened with the president minutes ago? I have a big update as a new executive order is coming within minutes. What executive order is the president going to sign? You're going to be very excited, but which one is it? There's a lot of executive orders the president's been pushed to do, and this one is coming within minutes. I have all the details coming up in this video. Meantime, the president makes an announcement about masks. And is the announcement good or is it great? I have all those details across the board. And then, what did Representative Neal, the head of the Ways and Means Committee, say today? What did Elizabeth Warren say this morning? And what did Brian Deese say yesterday? And how does that impact this stimulus this fall? Meantime, incredible great news about SSI reform. That could be the single biggest payout you've seen in this channel for SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. I have the big, incredible, great news. Meantime, big, exciting news about third stimulus happening as well. Because if you haven't gotten particular money, the money's coming. This is Noontime LALATE. How are you, everybody? It's Noontime LALATE, and hope you're having a beautiful, warm, sunny day. Hope you are having a beautiful day. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do. If you haven't liked the video, also like the video, and if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. In this recording, we're going over that big, exciting executive order about to be signed by the president within minutes. I'll be telling you what it is. The press secretary, meantime, is live. I'll be cutting into her live feed as well in this recording. Circle around one more time. Is it a teal day? Is it a muddled blue day? Or is it a green day? We're going to find out. Also happening, big updates about your fourth stimulus check, your third stimulus check, and that fifth stimulus, SSI and SSDI reform happening across the board. And then the shocking details about Richard Neal versus Elizabeth Warren versus Brian Deese. And also a lot more other details. How are you? Let's get to the surprising details that happened minutes ago. Minutes ago, the President of the United States addressed the American people. He did not address fourth stimulus. He did not address fifth stimulus. We were told he was going to make a press briefing today about one or two of them. He didn't. So what did he say? The president announced that there is a new federal guidance from CDC effective immediately, that if you are vaccinated and you're in a small group of people, you can go out in public without a mask. Sort of obvious. I just sort of think people were already doing that. Were people not wearing masks and fully vaccinated and in restaurants outside for the last few weeks? Yeah, they were. So suddenly he now says that if you and I are fully vaccinated, which I am, and you are out in public, you can be in a small group with one or two other people and take off your mask. Well, that's just reassuring. It's sort of obvious. We were already there just about a couple months ago. But the reason why he made the press briefing was to encourage Americans to get vaccinated. The number of vaccination numbers have dropped in recent days. All right, let's cut back to fourth stimulus. Fourth stimulus is getting incredible news across the board today as Jerome Powell announced to insiders that there will be no change of Fed policy for this economy, meaning the Federal Reserve will continue to support this economy going forward to ostensibly the end of the year. Here's Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's lack of change in a policy and continued support of stimulating this economy is signaling that fourth stimulus is going to go out the door. Fourth stimulus is the biggest payout you've ever seen in the history of this channel that would pay you more than you've ever seen before. Fourth stimulus is the infrastructure bill, the American Jobs Plan. That fourth stimulus would be put in there by those Democratic senators and those Democratic House members. Those stimulus checks every month and every month thereafter. Let's go over all the details starting right now. Those House members would pay you a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Those senators would pay you a stimulus check from now through December. The House members are progressives. The senators are more moderates and have a lot of other legislative items. They may slide into the package as well. How many checks? Well, the House members are going to propose you to have a stimulus check of $1,000 a month for upwards of about 18 months. The senators want to give you about 6 months of checks, but the amount is unknown. Yet, word on the street says it looks like this. Wow. Huge amount of money. $12,000 July to December, or $8,400 to July to December. This is you. This is the single biggest payout we've ever seen in the history of this channel. Who gets it? Let's go over who qualifies for it. If you make less than $75,000, you get this. If you're a married couple, $150,000 or less, you get this. Household of 4 or less, times the amount from the prior screen, you get this. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you get this. Again, here is the number. The single biggest payout ever on this channel, and they're going to get it done. 2 ways to get it done. First, the House members can put it in there. Second, the senators can put it in there. First, does the president write the bill? No. Do the senators and House members write the bill? Yes. The House members write the bill, and it's a 2-step process. Step 1, do you agree to do a recon? Yes. Off to the Senate. Do you agree to do a recon? Yes. Off the president, sign into law. Step 2, what is going to be in the recon? House members go to their subcommittees. Representative Neal, others go to their subcommittees, design what's in the substantive part of the reconciliation. Then they vote on it. Do you agree? Yes. At that point, they could put in those stimulus checks, the House members. They don't have to, but they could. And then it goes over to the Senate. During a 2-day event, the Vote-A-Rama, in July, those senators put those monthly stimulus checks in there, and then off to the president and signed into law. Now, here's what you need to know. When, how much, and by what means. First, when would the vote be? The final vote would be in July. Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi both confirmed the final vote would be no later than July 4th. Number 2, when would you get the first check? In July. Number 3, would it be coming in waves? No. Everyone will get their checks together. They can't do this in waves because it's a monthly stimulus check. Next, would this count towards income? Nope. Would it disqualify you for benefits? No. And how would they get the money to you? Likely by a debit card, I'm guessing, that would be replenished on a monthly basis. This is for stimulus. This is the American Infrastructure Plan. This is the American Jobs Plan. Breaking minutes ago was a new report that came out that said Americans were surveyed whether they like the American Jobs Plan. And more said they liked it than those that said they didn't like it. But here's the rub. No one's seen it. No one has actually seen it. They haven't heard the details of it. And I'm referring to the parts beyond the stimulus checks. They haven't heard it or seen it. So why are people being polled about something they haven't seen? Do you like fixing infrastructure? I love that. Well, then I vote in favor of the poll. Yes, but people haven't seen the actual bill. Why? It hasn't been written. I love broadcast media. Let's poll people about something that doesn't exist yet and see if they like it. Yeah, do you like something that doesn't exist? I do. That's why it doesn't exist. I really like it so far. So that is the current situation for forced stimulus. Meantime, minutes ago, the President of the United States had a press briefing outside at the White House without his mask on, and he said if you're a small group of 2 or 3 or 4 people and you're all vaccinated, you can take off your mask. Well, we've just been doing that for the last 4 months when we were outdoor cafes eating, which apparently were also fine for the White House. Not particularly jaw-dropping, earth-shattering news conference, but he said the CDC's new guidelines today is you can take off your mask if you're in a group of 1 or 2 or 3 people and you're fully vaccinated and you're outside. Like you weren't doing that before. Okay. As to people who are not vaccinated, keep it on, he said. And as to amphitheaters or major amusement parks, keep it on. So that's where we are today. The purpose of the press conference was because of the falling number of vaccinations among young adults. The president's having problems getting other people vaccinated. Sites in Los Angeles are shutting down because no one is showing up for vaccinations here in Southern California. It got to a level where people got vaccinated, and then the people who didn't said, I'm not doing it. So the vaccination numbers, the president's trying to pitch Americans to really get vaccinated. All right, big exciting news about a new executive order coming within a few minutes. Oh my God, I'm really excited for you. What is it? It's coming up later in this broadcast. But also heating up is taxes. Taxes. Not a minute goes by with not another tax story. I got to tell you, they're boring. They're boring. And I'm sort of balancing whether to tell you all these tax stories because they're in the fourth stimulus package or the fifth stimulus package, or put you to sleep. And this is noontime. You can't go be sleeping in the middle of the day unless you're overseas where it's nighttime. So there's a new report out today that says the president's expected to pitch a higher capital gains tax. But the report says that the president will cost, yes, you're hearing this right, will cost the American people nearly $33 billion if he doesn't change the capital gains tax the way it should be changed, says the report. What? So the report says that raising capital gains would actually generate $113 billion, but also cost $33 billion. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So what's at issue? It's something called the step-up basis of death. And what does the step-up basis of death mean? It means that if you inherit something from someone who dies at death, you get their basis, what they bought it at. If they bought something at $10 and they die, you get it at a $10 basis, not at what its value is at death. He would have to remove the step-up basis to offset this loss in capital gains. So will he? No indication yet from the White House. Very interesting. Then Elizabeth Warren discussed this morning yet another thing. Elizabeth Warren is among those senators that some of the viewers of this channel have good and bad vibes with at the moment. Why? Because Elizabeth Warren signed that incredible letter for SSI and SSDI reform just a few days ago, but has not yet talked about it. Elizabeth Warren was pushing for student loan debt forgiveness with the president and Miguel Cardona and everyone else, and has yet to talk about it. Elizabeth Warren was the person who signed the multiple stimulus checks as one of the senators, but has yet recently talked about it. So what did she talk about today? Taxing Fortune 100 companies, the top 150 U.S. corporations, and increasing their corporate tax rate. This is what viewers of this channel sometimes have a problem with, and I have a problem with as well. Let's get one thing done at a time. Let's get those multiple stimulus checks out under the fourth stimulus package. Let's get the SSI reform out under the fifth stimulus package. And let's get the student loan debt forgiveness done by executive order. More about that coming up later in this broadcast. But why are we going on to another subject? This is what often people have problems with. Certainly with what's going on currently with some legislators, that they seem to take on 20, 30 different causes at the same time, and none of them seem to go from point A to point B. They just sort of have press conferences about things all the time. But what happened today? Oh boy. Representative Neal, who is the head of the Ways and Means Committee, who is a very big element of the third stimulus package, when it went to the subcommittee of Ways and Means, he was the person who we pushed to try to get FPC retro in there, tried to push to get hazard pay in there, tried to push to get SS200 in there. He put none of that in there. He did not put a stimulus check in there either. So what did he come out today with? A new bill. And that new bill introduced by Representative Neal today proposes what? To pay $4,000 to children from birth to age 17. Yes, really. He wants to pay $60,000 to $70,000 for a child from birth to age 17. Why? I don't know why. Is it ever going to see light of day? No way. Is the bill ever going to get called for a vote? No. Is the bill ever going to pass the House and Senate? Absolutely not. Is the bill ever going to go by recon? No. But why is a person of this magnitude, of this importance in the House, who did not give you hazard pay, did not give you SP through retro, did not give you multiple stimulus checks, you got that from other people, and did not even give you a stimulus check, let alone in the third stimulus package, that came from the Senate. Why is he suddenly, and didn't give you SS200 either, why is he suddenly trying to give $70,000 to young babies? Not clear. Not particularly clear. And it's a day in which there's a lot of things that's not particularly clear as well. In the last 24 hours, we heard from Brian Deasy, who came forward for the president as his chief economic council member, said that the fifth stimulus package in September will raise capital gains taxes for a rate he wouldn't tell us, for an amount that he wouldn't tell us, for a purpose he wouldn't tell us, and he said it's to make young babies economically competitive. I'm sorry, where are these babies going to be economically competitive? In a I don't know, in a diaper race? I don't know where these babies are going to be economically competitive. What's going on here? This is where things are going, where the horse is going before the cart, where we're hearing that things are happening before they happen. And that's certainly what happened in that poll that came out today, that Americans were asked, do you like the infrastructure plan that they haven't seen? Do you like fixing infrastructure? Yeah, I like fixing infrastructure. Well, but they weren't told whether there's other parts of the infrastructure like taxes at issue. So that is how things are unfolding. Elizabeth Warren, meantime, did stay on message this morning. When she was asked about taxes, she focused on the top 50 to 100 corporations. She did not focus on you. She did not focus on the mom and pop. She focused on billion, trillion-dollar companies and not on smaller operations. And she said that is the focus that should be of this administration. Interesting. Coming up at the commercial break, I'm going to go over that big executive order coming through for the President of the United States. What do you think that executive order is? That and more exciting news, including the SSI reform, coming up after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on LALATE in just a little bit. We go into our afternoons broadcasting program coming up next. You ready? Noontime, you're currently watching at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we're going into afternoons LALATE. Coming up next at 4 p.m. Make sure you tune in. After that, we go into our evenings programming schedule. A new show every 2 hours. It's easy breezy. The programming schedule continues at 6 p.m. with the second afternoon show. And then we go into evenings LALATE at 8 p.m., followed by LALATE Night. How are you? It's a big noontime show. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the chat and also in the pinned comment. For the stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check, the single biggest payout you ever see in the history of this channel. When would it come? July. How often? Every month. Is this income? No, it's a stimulus check. Stimulus checks are not income. Does it count towards my benefits? No. Does it disqualify me from benefits? No. Who gets it? If you make less than $75,000, this is you. A household for or less, this is you. SSI or SSI, this is you. It comes from those Democrats in the House and the Senate. They're putting it in. The senators would likely pay you this amount of money, $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. It's the single biggest payout you've ever seen in the history of this channel. And guess what? It pales in comparison to what the president's going to do in September. What is he doing in September? Fifth stimulus. And what's in fifth stimulus? In September, the fifth stimulus package, the president will put in there $4,000 a month for children over 6 years. Yeah, before the commercial break, you heard me tell you that Representative Neal, the House Ways and Means Committee, wants to pay it over 17 years. The president wanted to do 17 years under the fifth stimulus. He met with advisors and they said, no, you can't get support for that. So in the fifth stimulus, he's going to put in 6 years of $4,000, $24,000 for newborns to 17-year-olds. A lot of money? Well, it is. And ultimately, you should not feel guilty about your multiple stimulus checks under the July 4th stimulus, because under the September 5th stimulus, the president's looking to spend $24,000 on new children, new babies. Whereas Representative Neal today said, I want to do that over 17 years. I want to give them $60,000 to $70,000. Oh boy. So that executive order, oh my goodness, an executive order is about to be signed by the President of the United States within minutes. And that executive order is incredible, great news. That executive order will provide that people who work for the federal government have to have a lot more money as their income. The president is set to sign an executive order today, within minutes, that will require federal contractors to pay a $15 an hour minimum wage. Currently, the minimum wage for federal workers is $10.95, and the tip wage is $7.65 an hour. According to the White House, all government agencies will have to have a $15 minimum wage in new solicitations by March 30th, 2021. The press release obtained by LALATE says employers may seek to raise wages for workers earning above $15 as they try to recruit in talent. And the research shows the minimum wage is increased, the workers will spend more. Here again is sort of a routing issue and a timing issue for this channel. If this sounds familiar, it should. The president was supposed to sign this executive order 4 months ago, but for the reasons unclear, the executive order is being announced today. I've been detailing this executive order since at least January. Again, this is for federal contract employees. For example, if you have the contract to mow the lawn at the federal building as a gardening company, and you hire your brother and your sister and your nephew, you have to pay your brother, sister, and nephew this new $15 minimum wage. But why is it taking effect in March of 2022 and not effective immediately? Also really unclear as well. But good news, it's finally happening. Meantime, what's going on with that Miguel Cardona letter? This is where people are starting to get a little bit perturbed. As Elizabeth Warren is out talking about corporate taxes, but not talking about the Miguel Cardona letter, or the SSI reform, or the MSC, she's sort of going from one topic to another topic. How about Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders has seemingly dropped the minimum wage, which seemed to be his topic du jour, 2 weeks ago. He's off to another topic today. Why do these legislators sort of go from topic to topic? Well, the good news is that the SSI reform is gonna happen. Boy, that SSI reform is sliding into fifth stimulus. And what I really like about this SSI reform is it shows that Democrats are gonna hold the president to task. The president in this executive order today is months late on the task. The Miguel Cardona letter is now 2 weeks late. And guess what this said? It said, you promised this during the campaign trail. You promised this during the transition papers. You promised that SSI reform. And let me even quote in a footnote where you promised it. You haven't delivered. You haven't delivered on the third stimulus, and you're not putting a fourth stimulus, so we're putting it in fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus will come by those Democrats sliding in SSI reform. Let me go over what this is and how it works, and then I'll go over all the specifics. First, your benefits will increase across the board. Your asset limits will go higher. The inflation will be tied to as the new benchmark. They'll remove the income exclusion, and they'll remove the marriage penalty. Before I get to the details, let me tell you something that is huge that came out in a news report just this morning. The news report this morning revealed that in the last year, this is what prices cost. In the last year, laundry equipment went up 24%, gasoline went up 22%, heating oil went up 20%, and car and truck repairs went up 31%. But how much did SSI benefits and SSA benefits and similar benefits like that go up? 1 Not bueno. No bueno. And that is because your benefits are tied to COLA, which doesn't move. COLA doesn't move. So let's go over this SSI reform. First, I'm referring to SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Rural Benefits, all of you. Second, if you have multiple benefits, this applies to both of you, or all your benefits. Now let's go over the amounts. First, they're going to raise your benefits up to a big new number under the fifth stimulus package, a big new benefits number. That's your new number going forward. Second, because of that data I just showed you where benefits don't improve year to date, that report said your benefits went up about $20 since last year. They're getting rid of that. They're tying you to a new benchmark, and that's inflation. Inflation goes up 1, 2, 3, 4%. They're tying you to inflation. And guess what? Federal Chair Jerome Powell, who's set to speak all this week, is likely to say the inflationary rate is going to be 2 to 4% over the next few years. Great news. Your benefits are going to increase 2 to 4% over the next few years. Then they're removing the asset cap. It dates back to the 1980s. Says you can't keep more than $3,000 on hand for some of you. And then they're removing the income cap that says you can't work. That dates back to the 1960s. The new income cap will say if you want to work, you can go work $1,000, $2,000 a month, $12,000, $24,000, and keep that money annually in your bank. And finally, if you know about that marriage penalty, they're getting rid of the marriage penalty as well. Let's cut in to see what the press secretary is saying. Is she still talking? Oh, there she is. How are you? Let's see if she's still talking, or is she done? She is still talking. Let's see what she has to say.
To ensuring equity and access to COVID-19 response efforts and high-quality primary health care services. Community health centers are a critical pipeline, as we've talked about a bit in here before, for our COVID-19 vaccination efforts, and all over the nation's nearly 1,400 Health Resources and Services Administration funded health centers will be eligible for these funds. Finally, following the President's address to the joint session of Congress, we are launching the Getting America Back on Track tour to highlight the successes of the first 100 days in addressing the crises facing our country, vaccinating America to beat the pandemic, more than 200 million Americans to be exact, delivering much needed financial help to American families, making transformative investments to rescue and rebuild our economy, and fundamentally showing the government can deliver for people. We'll also use the tour to take the case directly to the American people about the vital need for action on the jobs plan and the families plan, which the President will be laying out in detail tomorrow evening, so we can make badly needed investments in the financial security of middle-class families, as well as in jobs, growth, and competitiveness. After the joint session, the President, Vice President, First Lady, Second Gentleman, and Cabinet members will fan out across the country. On Thursday, as you know, the President and First Lady will travel to Georgia, and the Vice President will go to Baltimore. On Friday, the President will travel to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Vice President will go to Ohio, and the Second Gentleman will head to North Carolina. They will be traveling, of course, next week as well, and we will announce additional stops then. Hello, Josh. Go ahead. Kick us off.
Thanks so much, Jen. The census recently came out and reallocated congressional seats. Does the White House share the concerns that Hispanics were undercounted as part of the census?
Well, first, let me say that the President took steps when he took office.
So there you go. Interesting. In the next 24 hours, the President will debut not one, but 2 stimulus packages at the same time. What do you think about that? Do you like that idea? He's going to debut the 4th stimulus package and the 5th stimulus package at the same time in the next 24 hours. The 4th stimulus package is the American Jobs Plan. The 5th stimulus package is the American Family Plan. The American Jobs Plan, 4th stimulus, has to get done by July, and it has to start by recon in the next few weeks. The American Family Plan starts in September and has to get done in 2 months after that. So he's going to do a tour of the country to pitch the American people on those items. Here's what you need to know, is that the American Jobs Plan, the 4th stimulus, needs to start and needs to end by July. What you're going to hear over the next few days of this channel is I'm going to be detailing how the economic recovery of this country is good, but doesn't show full recovery. There's 16 million Americans unemployed and 8 million jobs missing. But even with that, PUA, FPUC, and PEUC are expiring in September. If they let those things expire, how this economy will unfold, not particularly clear. And if they don't want them to expire, which I don't think they should, then they need to get them done in the fourth stimulus package by July, because they go on vacation until September. Very interesting for the White House to debut to the American people two stimulus packages at the same time, where the first one does not have bipartisan support and the second one won't have bipartisan support. Ultimately, we'll see how this unfolds. A lot of coverage tomorrow. I see a full chat room. Let me jump into the live chat and see what people are saying right now and see what your thoughts are across the board. Let's see. I see Sandy, the like queen. Get those likes up. Sandy's asking you to get those likes up. Let's try to do 3,000 likes in this video. Send some more moolah, says Corey. Lynn, yes, he did promise the SSI. We need to get it. We're long behind schedule. And there's Marbrook. I think we need to get the SSI done today. Very well said. I agree. I think that the SSI reform, even happening in fifth stimulus and going out in October, November, I would have preferred it in fourth stimulus and going out this summer. There is Ashley, and there's Colleen, and there's Stephanie, and there is Debbie as well. Let me see some of the other questions. Can someone throw up some sun? It's cold where that person is. That is, John Thompson says cold in Minnesota. Patricia, LA, if they give us cards for MSC, how would the dependent get theirs? Patricia, great question. So ultimately, I always get questions from viewers who say, how will this and how will that? Here's what you need to know. Let's just get it to the finish line first. People were asking in the chat before, is stimulus checks taxable? No. There's always someone that has sort of this complicated question. What happens if this thing and then that thing? Let's just get it to the finish line first. But what I believe is going to happen is that they're going to have to figure out a way to get those stimulus checks in your hand every month by an easy breezy way. And the only easy breezy way I have seen is those debit cards they replenish on a monthly basis. I think that's the easiest way. But for now, they need to get this to the finish line. And now you saw in that press briefing from the press secretary, the president in the next 24 hours is going to do a tour. Well, it's going to do a joint session of Congress announcement and then a tour of the country telling you about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus at the same time. Here's what you need to know as we go into Afternoons LA. While the president will tour the American people, America to talk about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus, he's not going to talk about what the senators and the congressmen want to put in there. Let's recap. First, the fifth stimulus in September, the Democratic senators and the Democratic House members are going to put in there the SSI reform. They wrote the president the letter that if he doesn't put it in there, they're putting it in there. So when you hear the president talk about fifth stimulus, the September stimulus, in the next 24 hours, you will not hear the president mention SSI reform. It's coming from the congressional members of the Democratic Party. It's not coming from him. Number two, when you hear the president talk about the July fourth stimulus in the next 24 hours, he is not going to talk about stimulus checks because those stimulus checks come from the votorama, from the Senate, from the House. The House members will put the monthly stimulus checks in there, or the senators will put the monthly stimulus checks in there. So I certainly want you to be prepared for what you're going to hear and what you're not going to hear. To recap, fourth stimulus, July. Checks going out in July. Who's going to get you those checks? Democratic senators, Democratic House members, not the president, but he's not going to veto it. Number two, SSI reform, fifth stimulus, this September. Who's going to get you the SSI reform? Not the president, the congressional members, senators, and House members. And how about all those other things, like student loan debt forgiveness by executive order? Who's going to get them? You and I pushing this president to get it to the finish line. Meantime, should you be worried about Representative Neal with this insane $75,000 to 17 to newborns? No, never going to see light of day. Should you be worried about Bernie Sanders with all these strange bills he's been introducing in the last 24 hours, which I've avoided to cover because they're just They're weird. No, you shouldn't be worried about not getting to the finish line. How about Mitt Romney and all those other things? The salt tax. There's been a lot of salt stories, and I don't mean I don't mean sodium. I mean that other salt. Is that going to be a concern? Not at the moment, but we're going to be watching all these things. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. If you're in the live chat, please hit that like button. It really helps. I'm going to look forward to seeing you in about 2 hours from now as the excitement continues here on this channel. 2 hours from now is afternoons LALATE. And then 2 hours after that is a continuation with our late night programming schedule. As you go into a new afternoon, stay positive, always stay focused, understand that we're going to get through this finish line together. We're a family, and as a family, we push for everything we're owed, and we stay focused, we stay motivated, and we keep smiling. Ultimately, along the way, we may hear some stuff that doesn't make sense, but we always stay on point. And with that, thank you for staying positive throughout the day. I'll see you in just a little bit from now on afternoons at 4 p.m. And then we go into the second afternoons, evenings, and then LA Late Night. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, always stay positive, and I look forward to seeing you in a little bit. And stay here as LALATE continues in just a little bit on this channel as a new day unfolds, but a continued push remains on point. It's a big day, and we're far from over in getting to that finish line. Stay with LA for more.